is objectives of our lecture. So initially we'll define what is viral pathogenesis, and then we'll discuss what are the factors which are involved in the pathogenesis of viruses. So in this topic we will discuss the effects of viral infection on cells, which is called as cellular pathogenesis. Then the entry into the host, entry of the virus into the host, in the course which the virus is going to be produce an infection, and then we'll discuss this tissue or cell tropism, and then the tissue or cell damage, and when we see the immune response of the host to the virus, and then we'll see the clearance of the virus or the persistence of the virus. Then we will, in the end, we will discuss what are the localized infections and what are the disseminated infections. Now comes the viral pathogenesis. Viral pathogenesis is a process by which a viral infection leads to disease. The majority of viral infections are subclinical. The consequences of viral infections depend on the interplay between a number of viral and host factors. So these are the outcomes or the consequences of viral infection, the acute infection and the chronic infection. In acute infection, the outcome can be recovered, the full recovery with no residue effects, or there is recovery, but there is reduced residue effects. Example, acute viral encephalitis leading to neurological sequelae. Death can occur or it can proceed to chronic infection. So these are the outcomes or consequences of our acute viral infection. Then the chronic viral infection, there can be a silent subclinical infection for long life. Cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, these are the examples of silent subclinical infection. A long silent period before disease, example HIV, SSPE, PML. Reactivation to cause acute disease, example herpes and shingles. Chronic disease with relapses and exacerbations, example is hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus. They can convert into the cancers, example Epstein-Barr virus, these herpes, human herpes virus. So hepatitis C virus, these viruses can cause the cancers also. Factors in the they are involved in the pathogenesis of the viruses. If number one, the effects of viral infection, effects of the viral infection on the cells, which is also called cellular pathogenesis. Entry into the cell, course of the infection, cell or tissue tropism, cell or tissue damage, host immune response, viral clearance. So these are the factors which can affect or they are involved in the viral pathogenesis. So number one, the effects of viruses on the cells. There can be the cell death can occur. Cell death from the viral infection may result from diversion of the cell's energy or the inhibition of the cell macromolecular synthesis, fusion of the cells to form multinuclear giant cells. Malignant transformation, the cell is not killed, but it is changed, it is transformed, and their chances are no apparent morphological or functional change. So these are the effects of the viruses on the cell. Either the cell can die, or it can fuse to form the multinucleated cells, or they are going to transform into the malignancy, or there are chances there are no apparent morphological or functional change. The virus remain within the cell in a potentially active state, no obvious effect on the cell function. Then comes the viral entry. The virus can enter, or the portal of entry can be all the mucous membranes, particularly the mucous membrane of the respiratory system, mucous membranes of the oral mucosa, the sexual organs, or the through the eyes, or through the urinary tract, or the entry can through the skin, like through the needles, wounds, or the bites. Then comes the course of the viral infection. When the virus enter at the primary site, eh, the replication occur that site. This is called as primary replication. When the replication of the viruses occur at the site of entry, it is called as primary replication. Mostly what happens, the shedding of the viruses after replication at the primary site, the shedding occurs and it is going to transmit to other people. And sometimes in other cases what happen, from the local site or the primary replication, they spread, the virus is spread either in the local area or through the lymphatics, through the nerves or through the blood. So through all routes they can spread to the secondary site where they, again the replication occurs in any organ. So when again in the secondary site or the another site where the second replication occurs, from here again the shedding can occurs and they are going to transmit the virus from others humans. Then comes and some most viral infections are either localized or to the portal of entry or spread systematically. So, mean we have two types of infections: localized infections or systematical infections or systemic infections, which are also called disseminated infections. So, we have two variety of on the basis of where they are causing. If they are localized, they are called localized, and when they are spread through these all routes, then we can say they are disseminated to the other organs. So then comes the shedding of the transmission. Again, the route of transmission can be respiratory system, the oral fecal transmission, the urogenital transmission, through the skin, from the mother to the child, with mother to the offspring, which is called as vertical, horizontal, from person to person, but not the vertical, it's horizontal. Then these are the mechanism in direct contact, like the aerosols, fomites. Fomites are the substances that they can be uh, living or non-living things through which the viruses are going to be transmitted. Direct contact by the lions, by the saliva, by the sex, by the animal or insect bites, or from through the umbilical cord. Then comes the cell tropism. Tropism means viral affinity for a specific body tissue. This is called as cell tropism or tissue tropism. So, viral affinity for a specific body tissues is determined by cell receptors for virus, cell transcription factors that recognize viral promoters and enhancers sequences, ability of the cell to support virus replication, physical barriers like local temperature, pH, and oxygen tension, enzymes and non-specific receptor in the body secretions, digestive enzymes and bile in the GIT that may inactivate some viruses. Cell damage: viruses may replicate widely throughout the body without any disease symptoms if they do not cause significant cell damage or death. Retroviruses do not generally cause cell death, being released from the cell by budding rather than the cell lysis, and cause persistent infections. Conversely, coronaviruses cause lysis and death of the cells in which they replicate, leading to fever and increased mucus secretion in the case of rhinoviruses, and paralysis or the death, usually due to the respiratory failure for the poliovirus. Then comes the immune response. The immune response means the response of the body, response of the immune system to the antigens or the infection. So the immune response to the virus probably has the greatest impact on the outcome of the interaction. In the most cases, the virus is cleared completely from the body and results in complete recovery. It is because of the immune response of the body. In other cases, the immune response is unable to clear virus completely and the virus persists. In a number of infections, the immune response plays a major pathological role in the disease. In general, cellular immunity plays the major role in cleaning clearing the virus infection, whereas humoral immunity protects against the reinfection. Then comes the viral clearance or the persistence. The majority of the viral infections are cleared, but certain viruses may cause persistent infections. There are two types of chronic persistent infections. True latency, the virus remains completely latent following primary infection. Example, herpes simplex virus, varicella zoster virus. Its genome may be integrated into the cellular genome or exists as episomes. Then other one is the persistence. The virus replicates continuously in the body at a very low level. Example, HIV, hepatitis B virus, cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus. I told you that we have the localized infections. So you can see here, these are the different localized infections because they have the local infection at the site of prime entry. So these are the local influenza, coryza, GIT, warts. These are the localized by generalized through the blood. So you can see mostly they are through the blood or the other side. So they are called as disseminated or generalized or systematical diseases like poliomyelitis and C. hepatitis. These all are the disseminated diseases. Thank you very much.